Good morning, children.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. So last class we have discussed about the causes, causes for the outbreak of the revolt of 1857, and which all section of people, was infuriated or they were not happy with the policies of British. Then we have discussed about Nawabs. What was the problem with the Nawabs?
They lost their power.
Yeah, the Nawabs, since during the mid 18th century, the Nawabs lost their power. The revenue company gradually, they have taken control over the Nawabs and they appointed residents. They appointed residents and gradually the revenue, the territory, it was annexed by the Britishers by stage by stage. Then what about Rani Lakshmi Bai and Nana Sahib Sridev? Can you tell me the problem with Rani Lakshmi Bai?
Her adopted son did
Yes.
not get
Yeah.
cannot be the king.
Next ruler. Rani Lakshmi Bai, she was the ruler of Jhansi. Yes, she was the ruler of Jhansi. She wanted her adopted son as the next ruler, but the company refused. Refused to admit or recognize her adopted son as the next ruler. And on which background, children? On which background she denied this chance? Which policy?
Doctrine of lapse.
Doctrine of lapse. Doctrine of lapse. That means if a king died without a legal heir, that territory would be under the control of the Britishers. It would be a lapse. And what about Nana Sahib?
He was the adopted son of
Peshwa
Bajirao.
Bajirao II. He was the adopted son of Peshwa Bajirao II. And after his father's death, he wanted to get his pension. But the company refused to give only because he was the adopted son of Peshwa Bajirao II. Right. Then annexation of Awadh. Awadh was one of the last territory to be annexed. So subsidiary alliance was imposed. Was imposed on Awadh, and fully Awadh was fully it was under the control of the Britishers. The misrule of the Nawab. The Britishers think that they only have the capacity to rule the territories well. The Indian rulers were not capable, and the misrule of Nawab was given as an excuse for annexing Awadh to the Britishers. Then also we have discussed about the Mughal dynasty during this time. During the time of the revolt, Mughal dynasty was ruling over here. They have control over Delhi. So the Britishers were planning to put an end to the Mughal dynasty. So they removed the coins, removed the Mughal king's name from the coins, minted by the Britishers. And also it has been told that after the death of Bahadur Shah Zafar was ruling or was the king, of that time. So after when he did, the family of the king, they needed to shift from Red House, and they'll be given another place to live in Delhi. So that name of this Governor General, it is very important, children. That is Dalhousie announced that. In the year 1849, Governor General Dalhousie announced that after the death of Bahadur Shah Zafar, the family of the king would be shifted out of the Red Fort. And this one, it is very important. Governor General Canning. Governor General Canning decided that in the year 1857, He would be the last king. Bahadur Shah Zafar, he would be the last king of the Mughal dynasty. After his death, none of his descendants, none of his followers, okay, would be recognized as king. They will only call as princes. Okay, they never be, means the Britishers were never like to recognize the Mughal kings. Okay, they will be only be recognized as king. Okay, so sorry, princess. Okay, see children, this point it is clear to you.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that means so the dynasty or the important dynasty that came means that was there during this time was Mughal dynasty. Okay, so the Britishers wanted to end the Mughal rule over here in India. So they prepared many plans to end that dynasty. Okay, for that, step by step, they have taken some important steps to remove this family or remove Mughal dynasty's rule from India. The first step was that they removed the name of the Mughal king from the coin. Okay, they removed the name of the Mughal king from the coins minted by the Britishers. Then, in the year 1849, General Dalhousie, okay, announced that after the death of Bahadur Shah Zafar, they needed to shift from Red House, okay, and they needed to live or stay in another place in Delhi. And in the year 1856, Governor Canning, okay, General Governor Canning said that Bahadur Shah Zafar would be the last Mughal king. Okay, so some people they urged okay Bahadur Shah Zafar to lead the revolt. Okay, so he was ready to lead the revolt, but at the end of the battle he was defeated and he was exiled to Rangoon. Okay, Rangoon now it is in Myanmar. Okay, Myanmar, Burma. Have you heard the older name? Means the present day it is Myanmar. Before that it was Burma. Have you heard about that, children?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, so Bahadur Shah Zafar was defeated, okay, in the revolt and he was exiled. Okay. So these all points we have discussed. So we have discussed about a section of people or a group of people who were not happy with the Britishers. Okay, that is Nawabs. Okay, Nawabs were there. Many ruling families. Okay, example, we have talked about Rani Lakshmi Bai and Nana Sahib, and also many Nawabs, okay, many territories that were annexed by the Britishers, the kings and the Nawabs of that areas, and also the Mughal rulers. Okay, so this section of people were not happy with the Britishers, so naturally they turned against to the Britishers. Okay, then we will discuss what is the main problem with the peasants and the sepoys. Okay, I have told you, children, this 1857 revolt, it is also known as First War of Independence and also Sepoy Mutiny. Okay, Sepoy Mutiny. So we'll discuss why it is being called as Sepoy Mutiny. What is the problem with the peasants and the sepoys? Okay. The sepoys and the peasants. Okay, see children, the peasants were not happy with the high taxes and the rigid method of revenue collection. See children, we know that these people were extracting high huge amount from the people as taxes. Okay, and also they forced many peasants, and also they were forcing many peasants to produce whatever things they needed. That means which all crops, okay, that has great demand over there in Europe. That is indigo. Indigo, do you know, children? Indigo. What is it used for? Indigo. Anyone? No idea? See, can you hear me, children?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, have you have any idea about indigo production? No.
Is it dying?
Yes. Okay. See, children, indigo, it is used to dye the clothes, blue color. Okay, so indigo, it had a huge market in European countries. Okay, so the Britishers forced Indian people to produce indigo. Okay, that means which all things that has great demand over there in their countries. Okay, that they wanted to cultivate here. Okay, so they forced Indian peasants, okay, to cultivate all these things. Okay, and they will buy the things at a cheap rate from the Indian peasants, and they will sell it at a huge profit. Okay, huge profit in the European market. Okay, and also they were collecting high taxes from the peasants. Okay, they were collecting revenues or huge amount of taxes. Okay, huge amount as taxes from the people. So the peasants were not happy with the Britishers. Okay, that was one of the other reason for why the peasants were joined in this revolt. Okay, so the peasants were not happy with the high taxes and the rigid method of revenue collection. What do you mean by rigid method? That means they were using very harsh method. If they were not, means if they were failed to give the revenue, the land will be taken. Okay, their land will be taken from these peasants. Okay, so most of the peasants were not happy with the Britishers. And many peasants had lost the land they had been tilling for generations because of their failure to repay their loan. So many of the peasants, they lost their job, means they lost their lands. Okay, because even sometimes if they fail to repay, means pay the loans or pay the taxes, what the Britishers will do, they will annex or they will take that land under their control. So the most of the peasants, they lost their lands because of the failure to repay their loans. Okay, sometimes 50 or 60% of their production is being collected as taxes from the people. So the peasants, they need to buy the crops. Okay, buy the crops for their production, fertilizers. Okay, and also they need to live. Okay, and with the limited income. So it was a burden for the peasants to pay huge amount of taxes, as well as they need to pay, they need to need, means they need money for their production. So it was a burden for the peasants. So most of them are able to pay the loans. In that cases, what it will do, they will uh, take the land. Okay, they will annex that land under the British control. Okay, so the peasants were not happy. They were forced to produce the things that is required by the Britishers. Okay, and also many peasants, okay, they could not able to pay the loans. So in that time, most of them, they lost their lands because the Britishers taken that lands under their control. So that was the problem with the peasants. Okay, then the Indian sepoys, they were also not happy about their pay, allowance, and condition of services. Okay, so they were getting very low salary, and many peasants, okay, see children, these peasants, many of these peasants, when they lost their lands, they joined in the army. Okay, they joined with the British army because they need to live for them. But their pay, means their salary was very low. They were not getting any allowances, and the services, the condition also was not very safe. And some of the new rules violated the religious sentiments and beliefs. See, children, at that time, a new type of cartridges was introduced. What do you mean by cartridges? A new type of bullet, means a new type of rifle. Okay, rifles, loaded guns was introduced. The cartridges to be loaded, okay, the bullets to be loaded in the cartridges was filled with the fat of cow and pig. Okay, these bullets, okay, the bullets to be loaded into this rifle was covered with the fat of cow and pig. Okay, so for the Hindus, cow is holy. Okay, and for the Muslims, pig is unholy. Right? Children, are you following me?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay, what is the
Yes.
problem with the sepoys? Sorry, peasants?
They had to pay high taxes.
Yeah. Okay. The peasants, the Britishers were extracting huge amount of taxes from the peasants. Okay, they need to pay huge amount as taxes, and also they forced the peasants to produce the things that was needed by the Britishers. Okay, indigo, tea, and spices. All these had a huge market in European countries. Okay, so they will buy the things. They will force the peasants to produce these things. Okay, and they will buy the things at cheap rate from the peasants, and they will sell it into high rate in the European market. So the Britishers, they were making profit, but the condition of the peasants was not happy. Okay, many of them unable to pay the loans. Okay, unable to pay the taxes, unable to pay the loans. So most of the land was taken by the Britishers. That was the problem with the peasants. Okay, and sepoys, they were not happy. Okay, the sepoys also were not happy because of their pay. Okay, their working condition. Okay, their services, it was not at all in a good condition. Okay, moreover, they have introduced many things that hurt the religious sentiments of the sepoys. Okay, among them, the most important was that a new type of bullets, okay, means new type of rifle or gun was introduced. The bullets to be used in this rifle was covered with the fat of cow and a pig. Okay.
Ma'am,
Ah,
why are they using the fat of cow and pig?
yeah,
Why?
just that I will show you the picture of that gun. It was an old type of gun, not like the present type of gun. So the bullets, they need to bite, means that cover, the bullets cover, they need to bite with their mouth, okay, bite with their teeth, and they have to load it into the. In the old movies, we have seen such a long type of gun. Do you know, children? Okay,
Yes.
I think for just when they shot, some getting some friction or something, they are using that the fat of cow and pig. Okay, it is an old type of gun. So the bullets, okay, it is covered with the fat of cow and pig. Cow is holy for the Hindus. Okay, and for the Muslims, pig is unholy. Okay, so both of this means both of these religious people, that is the Hindus as well as the Muslims, okay, they were not ready to do that. It hurt the religious sentiments of this Hindus and the Muslim sepoys. Okay, they were not ready to bite it with their with means the cartridges, they were not ready to bite it. Okay, so some in the new laws or some measures introduced by the Britishers that hurt the religious sentiments of the sepoys or the soldiers. Okay, so the soldiers also was not happy. Already they were not happy with the pay, okay, their salary, their condition of work, and also the Britishers, they introduced new methods, okay, that hurt the religious sentiments of the sepoys. Clear, children? Is it clear? Is this point is clear?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Children, listen to me. The peasants were not happy with the high taxes and the rigid methods of revenue collection. Rigid method means that whenever they failed to repay the loan, the land, it would be under the control of the Britishers. Okay, they were not given any chance or they were not given any concession. Okay, that is meant by the rigid method of revenue collection. And many of the peasants lost their land because most of them, okay, it is not, they were not, it was not possible for them to repay the loans. Okay, that is the problem with the peasants. And also they were forced to cultivate that things that is needed or that is wanted by the Britishers, and they will give only less money for them. For cheap prices they will collect all these materials from them, and the Britishers, they made a huge profit by selling it into the European market at high prices. Okay, so that was the problem with the peasants. And about the sepoys, they were not happy with their salary, their allowance, their working condition. Okay, they were not happy with that. Added to this, okay, some of the new rules. Okay, some of the new rules violated the religious sentiments. That was about the new type of cartridges or new type of guns introduced by the Britishers. The bullets to be used in this one was to be covered. Okay, it was covered with the fat of cow and pig. So it hurt the religious sentiments of the Hindus and the Muslims. Okay, that is one of the main reason. The another reason was that the Hindus believed that crossing the sea would mean that they would lose their religion and caste. We know that children, the Indians, the people during that time, they were superstitious and they had many beliefs and many thoughts. Okay, so it was at that time they believed that if they cross the seas, okay, they were not ready to work as overseas work. They were not happy with the overseas trade on the overseas work. So if they means if they cross the seas, they would lose their religion and caste. That was the belief prevalent among the Hindus. In the 1824, please note it down, children, when the sepoys were told to go to Burma by sea route. Okay, the Hindus at that time, it was the belief that if they cross the sea, okay, if they cross the sea, they would lose their religion and caste. And the Britishers in the year 1824, okay, they were asked to go to Burma by sea route. Okay, by sea route, they refused to follow the order. The Hindus were not ready to follow that order. Okay, however, they were ready to go by land. Okay, they were ready to go by land, but they were asked to go through sea route. Okay, so for this, the sepoys were severely punished because the Hindu sepoys, they were not ready to cross the sea. So they were not ready to do this. So they were punished. Okay, so those who refused to cross the sea were severely punished. And also, the company passed a new law in the year 1856. Please note it down, children. In the year 1856, the company passed a new law. This new law made it mandatory for the sepoys to agree to serve overseas if required. So it made a compulsory action. Okay, the law declared that it is mandatory. Okay, it is compulsory for a sepoy to agree to serve overseas if required. Okay, if they were means if they demanded of if they were asked to go or to, if they need to cross the sea routes, it is a compulsory thing. Okay, so the peasants, it also hurt the sentiments of the Hindu people. Okay, because they believed that it was the belief. Okay, it was the belief during that time was that if they cross the seas, it would lose their religion and caste. Okay, so they were not ready to cross the seas, but the company, it passed a new law in the year 1856. Okay, the company passed a new law in the year 1856. According to this law, it was mandatory. Okay, it was compulsory for a sepoy to agree to serve overseas if required. So now we know that most of the section of Indian people, they were not happy with the Britishers. Okay, so through many policies, through many laws, the Britishers always tried to create problems among the Indians. Okay, so the sepoys, their salary, their working condition, everything was not, I mean, they were not happy with their salary and their working condition. Added to this, the Britishers introduced many laws, okay, that hurt the religious sentiments of the people. And among them, the first one we have discussed, that a new type of rifle, okay, it was introduced, okay, that was covered with the fat of cow and pig. And for the both the Hindus and the Muslims, it was not means acceptable. Okay, so the sepoys was in a mood to react against the Britishers. And the other one was the belief. Okay, it was the belief during that time was that the Hindus believed that if they cross the sea, it means that they would lose their religion and caste. Okay, superstitious. So in the year 1824, some sepoys were asked to cross the sea, but they refused. Okay, but the sepoys refused, and those who refused were severely punished by the Britishers. Okay, and in the year 1856, okay, in the year 1856, a new law, okay, made it mandatory for a sepoy to means agree, okay, to serve overseas if required. If required, they need to cross the sea and they need to fight. Okay, but
And what
this
is mandatory?
compulsory. Compulsory. See, children, they were ready to go by land. Okay, the sepoys, they were ready to go by land. Okay, but the Britishers made it compulsory that they need to go through the sea. Okay, then most of the sepoys were from rural background. I have told you, children, most of the peasants, when they lost their land, okay, and when they were unable to pay the revenue, most of them joined, okay, as soldiers in this army. In this army, they had family living in the villages. So most of these sepoys, they had families living in the villages. So they also reacted to what was happening in the countryside. So the relatives, okay, the family members of these sepoys also were reacted against to the Britishers, because this whole section of people were not happy with the Britishers. Okay, children, is this 2 point, is it clear to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Do I need to explain any point? If it is not clear, please just clear it now. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let me ask someone. Lakshmi Nanda, what is the problem with the peasants? Can you explain to me?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me.
Peasants had to pay high taxes, and
Yeah.
they had rigid methods of revenue collection.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. The peasants were not happy with the taxes. Okay. A huge amount of taxes was collecting from the peasants. Okay. And also they were forced to cultivate the things that was demanded by the Britishers. Okay. And they were collecting all these things at cheap rate. Okay. At cheaper rate from the peasants. Okay. They were making huge profit out of this. The Britishers were making huge profits out of this. Okay. Then Henin, what is the problem with the sepoys?
Boys were not happy about their pay,
Yeah.
allowances, and
Yes,
conditions.
about their salary, about their working condition. Okay, they were not happy. And added to this was new methods. Yes, a new rifle was introduced. Okay, in which
Violated their religious sensibility.
it violated the religious sentiments. How? The bullets to be used in this cartridges, okay, it was covered with the fat of
Cow and pig.
cow and pig. Okay, they need to bite it. Okay, they need to bite it and open it before loading. Okay, before loading, they need to bite with their teeth. Okay, so both the Hindus and the Muslim, it hurt the religious sentiments. Okay, and what is the problem with the sea? Atikesh?
And the Hindus believed that
Mm.
when they cross the seas, there they will lose their religion and caste.
Religion. Okay, it would lose their religion and caste. Okay, so the Hindus, suppose they were not ready to cross the seas, they were ready to go through the land route. Okay, but the Britishers made it compulsory. A new law was passed in the year 1856. Okay, that made compulsory for a seapoy to cross. Okay, cross the seas if it required. Okay, if any means if any war or battle, if it is needed, if it is happen, they need to cross the boundaries, means they need to cross the sea. Okay, is it clear, children? Is all these points are clear to you?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Then we'll discuss about the means responses to reform. What do you mean by reforms? We have studied about many reformers. Okay, actually, what do you mean by reform?
Mm.
Hmm? Reforms?
We made.
Hmm? Reform means new methods or a change. Okay, so Indian society, we know that during that time, the Indian people, they were superstitious, right? What do you mean by superstitious?
Caste
Many
Ah,
beliefs.
beliefs.
yes, based on caste. Okay, just now we have discussed about the sea route. Okay, if they, what was the belief? If they cross the sea, it would means they would lose their religion. That was a belief among the Hindu people. Okay, so during this time, on the basis of caste, religion, and all lower caste, and we some of we already we know about that, right? And have you heard about sati, children? Sati, a custom or practice prevalent in Hindu religion.
Yes, ma'am.
What was it?
Yes, ma'am.
Was
If
it?
his
When
husband
Hindu
Yes.
lady's husband
died, then she
then the
then she
girl
should
will be thrown to the
go to
fire.
Ah,
fire.
yes. Okay, when
She should die
when
with her.
husband dead, ah, yeah, the wife also need to commit suicide on his funeral fire. Okay, that was the superstitious or custom prevalent in the Hindu society. And also, even many of our leaders were not happy with sati and all. Okay, Rajara Mohan Roy, have you heard about Rajara Mohan Roy? Hmm? Rajara Mohan Roy? The man who is behind, okay, means he worked for, and also see, children, the condition of woman was not safe and secure during that time. Even they were not allowed to means attend the schools, is it?
Yes.
Okay, so the society, the Indian society, it was fully means fully means a was, or it was filled with many superstitious belief, okay, customs and practices. So the Britishers, they're very modern. Okay, they have modern ideas. So they wanted to reform the Indian society. Okay, they wanted to change the Indian society. So they introduced many laws, many policies. Okay, and among them, the first one was they stopped sati. Okay, they stopped sati, they banned sati, was banned. See, many of our Indian leaders also, like Rajara Mohan Roy, and many of Indian leaders also were worked against this evil practice. Okay, and so the Britishers was ready to hear all this, and they stopped or banned sati. Okay, and also they removed English, sorry, they removed Sanskrit and Arabic languages from the school. Sanskrit, it is the mainly the Hindus, okay, Brahmins were means teaching or studying in a Sanskrit, and Muslims Arabic. Okay, so they removed Arabic and Sanskrit from the school, and they have introduced, the Britishers, they introduced English language education. Okay, but the Indian people, whenever they introduced such changes, the Indian people were not happy with this. Okay, they thought that by introducing English language, it would destroy the culture and the tradition of the Indian people. That was the belief among the Indians. Okay, so children, that we will discuss on the next class. It's already only we have 5 more minutes. I'll tell you and it's small introduction. That means they took several steps to reform the society. Many laws were passed against the practice of sati, and also, children, the condition of widows. Who's widow?
Husbands death.
Ah,
Unmarried.
yes, one woman whose husband is dead. Okay, so the condition of widows also was very miserable during this time. Okay, sati was banned, a widow, okay, she can live, but there is no option for remarriage. Okay, she was alone, and even she was forbidden from all public functions. Okay, and she needed to shave her hair, wear white sari. Okay, like that, many customs was there during that time. So the Britishers, they banned sati, and also they declared that a widow can remarry. Okay, she can marry again. So that all new laws or new policies introduced by the Britishers, the Indian people were not happy with that. Okay, that we will